everyone, my name is Lynn Walsh and I'm the Assistant Director for the Trusting News Project. At Trusting News, we try to rebuild trust between the public and journalists, and today I'm going to give you some tips on how you can get credit for your ethics and your fairness behind your election coverage, because we know you all are trying to be ethical and working to be fair, so let's make sure our audience knows as well. So first, something to keep in mind is to think about how few people in the U.S. have ever spoken with or been interviewed by a local journalist. That percentage, according to Pew Research, is 21%. And that percentage goes down the less white you are, the younger you are, the less educated you are, and the less money you make. So when we assume that people are going to give journalists credit for being ethical and for being fair, we have to keep this in mind. Some people have never even spoken to someone, so why would we expect them to give us credit for these things if they've never had an interaction with us? And why would we expect them to trust us if they've never had an interaction with us? So it's on us to explain and talk about these things. So if you work to be fair, which I know all of you do, let's tell people how you work to be fair. Just doing that can lead to a lot of people just realizing that, okay, they are thinking about this. This is an example from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and they talked about how they work to be fair in their coverage of the legislature. And they talked about how because in Georgia, both of chambers of the legislature are controlled by Republicans, you're going to see more coverage about Republicans. Something to point out, you may think, well, of course that's the case. Not everyone knows that. The other part that I really love is that they say, as a team of professionals, we will hold each other accountable for being even-handed and fair. Again, just saying it can go a long way. Something else to think is that related to fairness, is your approach consistent? Some people may wonder why you covered story A over story B. Well, explain that and tell them. PolitiFact has done a great job of explaining to people why they choose certain stories to fact check and why they don't. Recently, when they were sharing a recent fact check, they actually got proactive and they posted a link in the comments on Facebook. I believe it was the first post there to explain to people, here, this is why how we choose which stories to fact check. You can find out right here. Here are some more details. Also, make sure that you, again, talk about that consistent approach and don't be afraid to respond if you're getting user questions. This is also from PolitiFact, and during the recent presidential debates, they explained why they were fact-checking Republicans more than Democrats and why that looked that way, and that they did fact-check Democrats too, and here's where you can find that information. They also asked for feedback, which is so crucial to building trust. When we're thinking about fairness, remember, it's sometimes visually, what does your coverage look like? Are you covering one issue and is it getting more space on your website, on social, or in your newspaper or on TV than another? Well, if that's the case, someone may see that as being unfair or biased. So this is an example from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. When covering the Senate acquittal of Trump with the impeachment process, at the bottom of the page, they had a little note here that said, to ensure our impeachment coverage continues to be balanced, we use the same format on the front page and on A7 for the Senate vote as we did on the House vote on December 18th. So again, sharing that, calling it out, and giving an example there. They even showed a picture from when what the front page looked like when the House vote happened. Something else you need to do, have a counter narrative. If people have questions, if people are making accusations, be ready to respond. This is something the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel did after the Kenosha protest shooting. They were getting lots of questions about why they were choosing to share some information and not other information. So they wrote about it. They did an FAQ. Here's why we're writing about some things, not other things. Here are some answers to the questions we are receiving. One of those questions, why aren't you calling these riots? And they explained why. The other really great thing is they moved those explanations away from their website onto social media and put together a couple really great social cards for Instagram that answered some of those questions as well. So that's all the time we have today, but please, if you want more of these quick tips, join our newsletter. We also have an SMS course, yes, via text message. It's totally free, where you can sign up for some trustworthy election coverage and tips to make your election coverage trustworthy. We also have lots of other election training resources at Election SOS, and we will be here throughout ONA to answer any questions. So please do get in touch with us. Thanks so much.